Hello, welcome to another edition of the VOD Weekly News Recap. I am glorious Haddijatou Njie. Good evening. Now let's look at the headlines. President Barrow threw shades on Honorable Haddijatou. AFCON 2023, the Gambia survives Chad scare to progress to group stage of qualifying. Government addresses on deliberate price hikes. Suntu Suso released his first debut album, Kanya Fonyo. 13 arrested on suspicion of online scamming and fraudulent activities. Egypt claims players were subjected to racism before World Cup playoff against Senegal. M23 rebels in DR Congo deny shooting down UN helicopter. Mozambique welcomes IMF's announcement of resumption of financial aid. Ghana Parliament approves controversial e-levies bill. Tunisian president dissolves parliament after MPs vote to roll back his power grab. Bruce Willis stepping away from acting after aphasia diagnosis. War in Ukraine. Russia launches new attack after peace promise. Will Smith refused to leave Oscar after slap, Academy says. 5 killed by Palestinian gunman in latest deadly attack in Israel. Those were the headlines. Now let's look at the news in details. President Adama Barrow has taken a dig of veteran politician Honorable Haddijatou, National Assembly member of Woolly West constituency, who is People's Democratic Organization for Independence and Socialism, DOI, candidate and seeking for re-election. Speaking at a campaign rally in Woolly West, President Barrow asked Honorable Jatta to retire or face an unwilling retirement after he is defeated in the polls on 9th April 2022. Honorable Jatta, he said, is old and it's about time for him to start receiving his pension. Famara Sabali will overcome Haddijatou this year, Barrow said. During the campaign, he acknowledged Honorable Haddijatou is an elder but urged him to take the back seat. The retired NAM for Serekunda West and former flag bearer of the DOI, PDOIS, Honorable Halifa Sallah, reacted to the president's comment and said that he was not going to respond to him. Haddijatou founded the PDOIS in 1986 and contested elections under the party symbol in 1987 and 1992. He lost both elections. He finally won the Woolly West constituency seat in 1997 National Assembly election, and he served as a member of parliament ever since. AFCON 2023, the Gambia survives Chad scare to progress to group stage of qualifying. Haddijatou Njie reports.
The Gambia came twice from behind to force a 2-2, 3-2 aggregate draw against Chad to qualify to the group stage of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Côte d'Ivoire 2023 qualifiers. The Gambia controlled most part of their first half, with Musa Barrow tackling the Chad post with an effort from distance. Hassan Ceesay scored a brace as the Gambia tripped to the final round of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. The Gambia won 3-2 on aggregate over Chad after 2 legs. Chad nearly ended the Gambia's dream as they lead the game to the dying minutes before Hassan Ceesay equalizing to a penalty. Despite a 2-2 draw at their temporary home at Agadir, Cameroon, the Scorpion 1-0 win the first leg in Cameroon decided the tie. Haddijatou Njie reporting for VOD.
The Gambian government, through the Ministries of Trade and Industry and Finance and Economic Affairs, held a joint stakeholders meeting on the 21st of March with major importers of essential commodities and seriously discussed issues over the rising price of essential goods. The government expressed concern over the recent increment of prices of basic commodities in the domestic market and noted that this pattern is proportionately getting frequent and warned that such brutal daily retail price increases are totally unacceptable According to the release, there is worrisome evidence of multi-price increase of a commodity within the day. Price of the same commodity costing, says $100 in the morning and rises to $125 in the evening within the same locality, and stated that this behavior is an example of price gouging, which is not in line with the principle of free market economics. The government further stated that members of the public assured of government's continued commitment in ensuring that essential commodities are available and affordable to the population. In attendance were representatives of the Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, the Gambia Ports Authority, GPA, the Gambia Competition and Consumers Protection Commission, GCCPC, as well as representatives of clearing and shipping agencies. Suntu Suso released his first debut album, Kanya Fonyo. Aissatou Sow reports.
Suntu Suso, an electrifying Gambian griot, kora player and multi-instrumentalist, on the 25th March launched his debut album Kana Fonyo, Never Give Up, at the Jawo in London, where Suntu Suso and his band were supported by an incredible Senegalese. Suntu Suso said the album talks about how people should not give up on their dreams and ambitions, and that failure and disappointment should not stop them from achieving their goals, and that it is important to keep pushing and never to give up as success often comes with so many difficulties along the way. Don't let anyone discourage you. Maintain your focus and one day you will achieve your goals, he stated. He went further to say that the album was recorded 2 years ago whilst he was in the Gambia as his first independent album, which he completed in the UK. Suntu's family includes some of the world's most respected West African musicians. His musical abilities are outstanding, perhaps unique for his generation. In a demand and charismatic performer, he attracted attention as soon as he arrived in the UK music scene. Aissatou Sow reporting for VOD.
The Drug Law Enforcement Agency has announced the arrest of 13 foreign nationals suspected of being involved in online scamming and fraudulent activities in the West Coast region. The statement by the agency stated that the suspects include 12 Nigerians and a Sierra Leonean. DLEAG operatives stationed in the West Coast region took into custody 12 Nigerians and a Sierra Leone, including 2 females suspected to engage in online scamming and fraudulent activities. Operatives received tips of information about the conduct and activities of some people suspected to be engaged in criminal activities in Old Yundum, West Coast region. A team was tasked to survey the said place, and on the 28th March 2020, around 13 hours GMT onwards, a team was dispatched to raid the identified place, which is an apartment at the first floor of a story building in Old Yundum. Upon arrival at the said apartment, operatives positioned themselves knocking the door of the apartment and identified themselves as nicotine officers who wanted to conduct a search. The occupants refused to open the door, and operatives had to forcefully break the door and enter the apartment. Some of the occupants took to their heels and others tried to escape by jumping from the back door of the story building. This action resulted in 5 of them sustaining injuries. Now let's look at the news across our borders. Egypt claims players were subjected to racism before World Cup playoff against Senegal. Haddijatou Njie reports.
Egypt have launched an official complaint against Senegal in which they claim their team was subjected to racism and terrorized by home fans in Dakar. Sadio Mane's winning shootout penalty sealed Senegal's World Cup place, with his Liverpool teammate Mohamed Salah amongst those to miss for Egypt. Egypt's captain Salah was one of several visiting players targeted by green laser pointers during the shootout, and it's also claimed that the Egypt team's bus was attacked, causing injuries. In a statement, the Egyptian Football Federation Association said it had launched a formal complaint against its Senegalese counterpart before the match, filing with the FIFA, the Confederation of the African Football, the CAF, the match observer, and the security official. The Egyptian team was subjected to racism after the appearance of offensive banners in the stand aimed at the players, specifically Mohamed Salah, the statement added. Moreover, the Senegalese fan terrorized the Egyptian players by throwing bottles and stones at them during the warm-up, as well as attacking the Egyptian team bus, which caused glass shattering and some injuries, which was documented with pictures and videos attached to the complaint. The symbolism. Reacting to the defeat, the Egyptian head coach Carlos said, "The dream is over. We lost out on World Cup qualifications to Senegal. So congratulations to all the players on the pitch. It was a great football evening and I wish all the best for Senegal during the World Cup," he said. Haddijatou Njie reporting for VOD.
Rebels in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo have denied shooting down a UN helicopter, killing 8 peacekeepers on board. DR Congo's army had blamed M23 rebels for the crash in which 6 Pakistanis and Russian and a Serbian died. It went down in North Kivu provinces, where there has been fierce crashes between M23 fighters and the army. The rebels, who had been driven out of DR Congo in 2013, have regrouped and retaken strategic areas since Monday. The UN says more than 13,000 people have fled their homes to escape the heavy fighting, and witnesses told the BBC that hundreds of Congolese were crossing the border into Uganda on Wednesday as sounds of gunfire and explosions could be heard. The UN mission in DR Congo said it lost contact off Tuesday with the helicopter while it was a reconnaissance mission over Tanzur. It is an area that used to be a key base for the M23, southeast of the town of Ruhuru, in North Kivu provinces, near the borders with Uganda and Rwanda. There are reports that Uganda and Rwanda have deployed troops to their borders with DR Congo because of the crashes. Mozambique's private sector has hailed the announcement of the resumption of financial assistance from the International Monetary Fund. On Tuesday, the Confederation of Economic Associations, Mozambique's largest employers' organization, noted that the development creates a good outlook. The International Monetary Fund has announced on Monday that it has reached an agreement with Mozambique for the implementation of an external fund program until 2025, disbursing financial assistance for the first time since the hidden debt scandal. This is the first time the IMF has funded Mozambique since the disclosure of the so-called hidden debt scandal in 2016, with only occasional financial aid following specific disasters such as the COVID-19 pandemic and others. Mozambican President Felipe Nyusi has welcomed the move, describing it as a great gain for the Southern African nation. Ghana's parliament approved a new contested tax on electronic transactions, known as the e-levy. The bill will introduce a 1.5% taxation on electronic money transfers. President Nana Akufo-Addo's government claims it will help raise over $900 million and address the problem of employment and high public debt. But for some Ghanaians, the tax represents an additional burden on top of the high cost of living, with fuel prices rising following the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Members of the opposition refused to take part in the vote and walked out of the assembly, describing the tax as unfair. Tunisia's President Kais Saied announced Wednesday that he was dissolving the country's parliament 8 months after suspending it in a July power grab. Today, at this historic moment, I announce the dissolution of the Assembly of Representatives of the People to preserve the state and its institution, he said. He made the announcement at the meeting of the National Security Council hours after parliamentarians held a panel session online and voted through a bill against his exceptional measures. Saied denounced Parliament's move as a coup attempt and said those responsible had betrayed the nation. The former law professor elected in 2019 aired public anger against the political class. On July 25th, last year sacked the government, froze the assembly and seized wide-ranging powers. He later gave himself power to rule and legislate by decree and seized control over the judiciary in what rivals saw as further blow to democracy in the birthplace of the 2011 Arab Spring uprisings. Saied's moves were initially welcomed by many Tunisians sick of the often stalemated political system that emerged from a revolution that overthrew longtime dictator Zine Ben Ali. Now let's look at the international news. US actor Bruce Willis is retiring, his family has announced, after the award-winning film star was diagnosed with aphasia, an illness that affects people's ability to communicate. Bruce has been experiencing some health issues and has recently been diagnosed with aphasia, which is impacting his cognitive abilities, his daughter Roma Williams said on Wednesday in a post on Instagram. As a result of this, and with much consideration, Bruce is stepping away from the career that has meant so much to him. The post is signed by Willis' current wife, Emma Willis, as well as his former wife, actress Demi Moore, and his children. This is a really challenging time for our family, and we are appreciative of your continued love, compassion, and support. The statement reads, "We're moving through this as a strong family unit and wanted to bring his fans in because we know how much he means to you, as you do to him. As Bruce always says, live it up, and together we plan to do that." War in Ukraine. Russia launched new attack after peace promise. Haddijatou Njie reports.
There has been no let-up in attacks on Ukraine's northern cities despite Russia's pledge to reduce military action, regional authorities say. Russia is said on Tuesday it will cut back on operations in an effort to boost mutual trust in peace talks. But the Chernihiv region governor told the BBC attack had continued overnight into Wednesday, and Ukraine also said there had been no mass removals of troops. Alessandro, the spokesperson for the Ukraine's armed forces, said that though there had been a partial movement of troops from the directions of Kyiv and Chernihiv, they have yet been fully abandoned attempt to seize or at least surround these cities. Later on Wednesday, a U.S. defense official said some Russian troops were leaving the Chernobyl area, home to a former nuclear plant, was the site of the world's worst nuclear accident in 1986. Chernobyl is an area where they are beginning to reposition some of their troops, leaving, walking away from the Chernobyl facility and moving to the Belarus, the official said. "We think that they are leaving. I can't tell you that they are all gone," the officials added. The decompromised nuclear plant station has been under Russians' control since the late February, a move that has been subject to widespread international condemnation. There have also been concerns over the welfare of workers at the Chernobyl site. The UN's Human Rights Commissioner, meanwhile, said Russia's allegedly indiscriminate attacks unpopulated areas of Ukraine more amount to war crimes. Addressing the Human Rights Council in Geneva, Switzerland on Tuesday, she said that there were credible allegations that Russia had used cluster munitions in populated areas on multiple occasions. Such weapons are widely banned by an international treaty, but neither Russia nor Ukraine are signed up to it. Haddijatou Njie reporting for VOD.
Will Smith was asked to leave the Oscar ceremony after hitting Chris Rock but refused, the Academy said. Smith slapped Rock after the comic made a joke about his wife, Jada Smith's shaved head, a result of the hair loss condition alopecia. The actor, who won the first Oscar of his career at the ceremony, has since apologized. In its statement, the Academy says Mr. Smith was asked to leave the ceremony and refused, but we also recognize we could have handled the situation differently. It also announced it had initiated disciplinary processes against Mr. Smith for violation of the Academy's standard of conduct. This includes inappropriate physical contact, abusive or threatening behaviors, and compromising the integrity of the Academy, it said. The Academy said action may be taken at its next board meeting on 18 April, and that may include suspension, expulsion, or other sanctions, the statement said. It also apologized directly to Rock as well as nominees, guests, and viewers. The incident on Sunday night happened just before Smith won the Oscar for Best Actor, when the comedian Rock was on stage to present the award for Best Documentary. 5 people have been shot dead by a Palestinian gunman in a suburb of the Israeli city of Tel Aviv, in the third deadly attack of its kind in a week. It happened on Tuesday evening in Bnei Brak, one of the country's most populous ultra-Orthodox Jewish area. The gunman was shot dead by police, a paramedic at the scene said. Israel's security forces were on high alert after attack by Israeli Arab last Tuesday and Sunday, which left 6 people dead. Israel Prime Minister Naftali said the country was currently dealing with a new wave of terrorism. Footage from the scene in Bnei Brak showed the attacker dressed in black firing an M16 assault fire on residential streets. Israeli media reported that he first shot dead 2 Ukrainian men who were sitting outside a grocery shop. He also opened fire at a passing car, killing a man who was driving it. He then shot dead a 4th man before being confronted by 2 police officers. One of the officers was fatally wounded during the exchange, while the second shot and killed the attackers. Megan David, ambulance service paramedic, Englander, said he came face to face with the gunman, but survived because the traffic jam. That's all we have for you today until we come your way again. I am Glorious Haddijatou Njie on the VOD Weekly News Recap. Have a good evening and thanks for watching.